Hey everyone, welcome back to another tutorial video for Warhammer Online, Return of Reckoning, the Age of Reckoning private server. It's me, Zarbix, or the Zarbix from Twitch, here with another deep dive going into the Sorcerer class. So we already had our first one on the Bright Wizard. We're going to do the mirror of that, and then we're going to move on to other classes. So the Sorcerer is a direct damage dealer, magic caster for destruction. Their main stats are going to be intellect and crit. So those are the two main things that impact magic damage in this game. The only other stat is magic power, which is a benefit if you have capped intellect at 1050. So those are the three main stats. Probably in priority is going to be crit, intellect, and then magic power. Then we're going to go into the abilities for the Sork, their bread and butter. Also, how you should play them. The best gear set for a Sork is going to be probably Onslaught, if you can get it from Chapter 22 Public Quest. If not, Vanquisher is great, and the scenario weapon, the 2260 scenario weapon, it is quite good. That's probably going to be your best as well as having 5-piece Genesis. So let's go over the Sork morale, tactics, and abilities. So unlike the Bright Wizard, you lose a little bit of utility, but you gain it in extra damage. So some unique stuff the Sork has that the Bright Wizard doesn't. They do have Shroud of Darkness. It's going to be a resist buff by 378 for 20 seconds. It doesn't stack with your group mates' group buffs. So if you're with a Shaman, if you're with a Zealot who's giving you those resists, or even a Chosen, it's not as useful. If you aren't, though, this can actually reduce magic damage you take from a Bright Wizard, an Archmage, or a Rune Priest by quite a significant amount. So definitely a good I'm in trouble ability. Lasts for 20 seconds. Not bad at all. You have your AP regen, which you lose dark magic, your mechanic, to gain it back. You're not going to really have too many action point problems as a sorcerer, but make sure you use this, guys, if you're going too high or if you're low on AP. Obsessive focus is interesting. Bright Wizards get a cleanse instead of this, which is probably a bit better, but this is useful if you are facing like one target. You got to do more damage to them, and you don't care if the rest of your targets are going to be taking 90%, like they're going to be taking less, because you want to get that one target down. It does have its places, but you got to be very sure of who you're using it on. It feels bad to use it and then the target dies in 2 seconds, or they run away and you're just left kind of nerfed. Let's go into morales. So they have very similar to the Bright Wizard. You have Dire Blast. It does direct damage and has a dot component. You have Mage Bolt, which has a knockback and direct damage, and you have Misdirection. Most likely, you're going to want to run Mage Bolt as a Sork. Get those melee away from you if you can. It's going to be your only real knockback ability that you have besides your roots, something to get an escape tool. Misdirection is okay as well if you're facing a lot of Bright Wizards, or maybe even Archmages, DPS Archmages, but you don't have that much magic damage coming from Order side. I would go for either Mage Bolt or Dire Blast. Misdirection, not great. Morale 2s, Focus Mind, Siphon Power, Woundwoven Shell, and Shatter. So actually you have a lot of variation with Morale 2 for Sorcerers. Focus Mind is probably your bread and butter. It's probably the easiest pick. It's going to make your Doom Bolts, all your casts faster by 50% for 10 seconds. Very, very good. As well as getting rid of Silence, Disarm, Snare, Root, all those stuff. It does not work against knockback or pull, but yeah, definitely a good escape tool. Good offensive spell as well. Siphon Power, while it sounds okay, stealing 200 action points with action point pots with all the AP regen abilities every class gets, you're not going to notice that being too useful. It has its place in a very, very unique situation, but most of the time, probably not going to go for that. Shatter is good if you're AoE spec. That's great if you're going AoE right in there super deep with your melee. 1200 undefendable. They just got this morale. They didn't used to have it back on live. They got it to mirror the Bright Wizard. Really, really good. And finally, Woundwoven Shell, which is very interesting. Engineers get this morale on Order side. It's everyone in your group takes 20% less damage for 20 seconds. Which is really good because it has a minute cooldown, 20% uptime. That's a big group help, including yourself. Everyone in your group is a good oh crap button, like we need to survive. You give up extra damage and extra self-survivability, but you're helping out your group. So definitely if you're a lower level Sork or running in a pre-made, this could be a huge benefit to your team to get. Finally, we have Darkstar Cloak and Scintillating Energy. This is garbage. You probably will never use this. just imagine this doesn't exist. Scintillating Energy, one of the better morales in the entire game. It's the longest stagger in the game at 9 seconds. 1200 undefendable damage, 100-foot range. It strikes instantly. Great morale. Unleash the Winds, again, not that great. A weak knockback on them, AoE. You're not going to get 2 morale for it typically anyways. The 1800 damage is nice, but some other classes get that much damage on their morale 3. You might have a place for this in an AoE spec. Most of the time you won't be using it, and if you do have it, there's probably something better you can use in your first 3. Let's go into the mastery abilities, and then we'll go into the tactics. So there are pretty much really 2 or 3 Sorc specs that you'll want to do. Here's the main one. You're going to go up to 11 points into Agony, get Impending Doom, and Echo of Power. You're going to go up 9 points into Calamity, pick up Hand of Ruin, Shadow of Disaster, and Vision of Domination. You're going to have 3 points left over. This is the main bread and butter, massive damage Sorc spec. It's actually really, really good. But, you might want to do something different, maybe try something else out. This is really strong. You have 3 points left. Most people will probably go up another 3 points and get Shades of Death, which is not bad. I mean, it's not the best, but it's a good use of those points and extra damage as well. So this is probably what you'll usually run if you're going to go for single target burst. There is another spec you can do as well if you want to be a little bit more survivable. You can go up to 13 points and grab the dot that gives you health back. So this is good if you're soloing a lot or maybe dueling. You want to get some health regen. Sorcs and Bright Wizards don't really have that much to begin with, so it is nice to have that tactic. And then you could also pick up Chilling Gusts, which actually there is a viable spec that was on live, doing every time you hit with your Chill Wind or Ice Spikes, you have a chance to do extra damage. You can add up really quickly with both those dots on people. So it definitely is another viable spec, but you're giving up burst, you're giving up more killing power for a little bit extra survivability and maybe some more sustained AoE type damage. Besides, those are the 2 main specs, and then the final spec for the Sorc is going to be your AoE spec. You're going to go up 13 points into Destruction. You're going to pick up Shadow Knives. You're going to pick up Disastrous Cascade. You're probably going to also want to pick up the Never-Ending Agony. You're going to pick up Piercing Shadows, and and then you're probably going to pick up the Endless Knowledge and probably Close Quarters as well. So that'll be your typical AoE spec if you're running with a group, and probably put your last couple of points into Agony. That's probably going to be the best. You might want to actually drop one of these tactics just in case you want to get the Impending Doom to build your direct damage up. So that's pretty typical Sorc AoE spec. As for tactics, Endless Knowledge, always really good. Getting that extra intellect, unless somehow you manage to overcap yourself, which is very hard to do. If you're going into the dot tree, you're going to always want to get these 2 tactics. This is where all the burst comes from the Sorc. Debuffing resist, and also increasing the damage of your Word of Pain. Super important. And then finally, for extra burst damage, Swell of Gloom. That's pretty typical. You have some leeway getting rid of Swell of Gloom if you don't want to grab it. You can grab a lot of other things that might be pretty interesting. Infernal Gift is great for the rest of your group mates. Gives everyone else in your group 10% more damage, which is super nice. You can gain more morale if you're trying to run a morale spec to get to Windwoven Shell or Scintillating Energy faster. But for the most part, you're probably going to want to run that main spec. So that's pretty much the Sorc class. I mean, your bread and butter is going to be your main single target rotation, which pretty much goes, Chill Wind, Word of Pain, Hand of Ruin. You're going to start building up a Doom Bolt or an Arctic Blast. Then you're going to cast Gloom Burst, Impending Doom, and then Hand of Ruin. That's going to be your main spec, killing power. The Sorc is really, really good stationary. They do have quite a few spells they can cast on the run, but you'll never have that burst unless you can stand still and cast for a long period of time. Other than that, guys, stack your crit, stack your int, build it up as much as you can. Get your Vanquisher, get your Genesis set, and get your Scenario Weapon, and you will be an absolute killing machine. While the Sorc does lose out on having the ranged knockdown that the Bright Wizard have and a cleanse, they make up for it with really good group morales and tactics, and also insane burst damage. They far outshine the Bright Wizard when it comes to their burst rotation. For the main reason for that is that Shadow Disaster, their debuff Spirit Resist, which is all their main burst spells are Spirit. So they're a great class. You will not be disappointed if you play them. Remember, guys, they are very squishy. They do blow themselves up, so you will need support of at least a healer. But when you do have a healer, when you have a good group, they really shine. It's one of the top damage classes in the entire game. Thank you guys for this video. We're gonna move on to do another one. Probably gonna go on to the Squig Herder and the Shadow Warrior next. But if you enjoy the content, feel free to give me a sub to the YouTube channel, or come find me on Twitch and come into one of the streams. Have a great day, guys. Thank you, and I will see you next time.